Welcome to Private Stories, where people discover who they really are. My name is Ethan Parker. I am 36 years old, and until a few nights ago I would have described my life as calm in the most unremarkable way possible. Not exciting, not miserable, just stable. I worked as a project coordinator at a logistics firm in Denver, the kind of job where deadlines mattered more than personalities and spreadsheets were considered a love language. My finances were neat, my apartment was clean, my routine predictable. And I had a girlfriend who seemed to fit perfectly into the future I thought I was building. Her name was Chloe Hayes. We had been together a little over 8 months. Long enough that her shampoo sat permanently in my shower and my spare key hung on her kitchen hook, but not so long that we had fully merged our lives. Some drawers still felt unofficial, some conversations still careful. We did not live together, yet it often felt like we did. Half my clothes were at her condo, her running shoes were always by my door, and one of her oversized sweaters had practically claimed my couch as permanent territory. Chloe worked in brand strategy, a job that suited her perfectly because she had a talent for turning anything into a compelling story. She was quick-witted, charming, effortlessly social. The kind of person who could make strangers feel like old friends within minutes. I admired that about her, even envied it a little. On paper, we made sense. I was structured, methodical, grounded. She was spontaneous, creative, magnetic. Logic plus spark, schedules plus impulse. If someone had told me back then that much of what I believed about her past was carefully curated fiction, I would have laughed. There was one recurring figure in her stories, though, one name that surfaced just often enough to make me uneasy. Marcus Cole, her ex-boyfriend. I cannot remember the first time she mentioned him, only that it happened early. Maybe during our third date, maybe sooner. We were at a rooftop bar downtown when her phone lit up and her smile faltered for a split second. She flipped the screen face down. When I asked who it was, she sighed dramatically and said, "My ex again." She told me he could not let go, that he kept finding ways to contact her, new numbers, new accounts, accidental run-ins that never felt accidental. Like a pop-up you cannot close no matter how many times you hit the X. At first she called him persistent. After a second glass of wine she upgraded that description to borderline dangerous. I remember feeling protective, sympathetic. No one wants to be haunted by someone they left behind. Especially not by someone who refuses to accept the ending. Every few weeks Marcus would reappear in conversation as the antagonist in whatever story she was telling. "He messaged me again from another account," she would say with a weary shake of her head. Or, "I think he followed me to my Pilates class today, I might switch studios." I would reach across the table, squeeze her hand, tell her I was sorry she had to deal with that. She would smile gratefully, as if my support mattered deeply. "I am used to it," she would say, "he just cannot stand that I moved on." She always sounded exhausted but reasonable, like someone unfairly burdened. I never questioned it. I should have. 3 nights ago everything changed. It was a Wednesday evening. I was at my apartment sitting at the small dining table that doubled as my workspace, finishing up expense reports while reheated coffee cooled beside my laptop. Chloe was on her way over. We had planned a quiet night, takeout, a movie neither of us would pay much attention to, maybe fall asleep on the couch. Comfortable normalcy. My phone buzzed once. I ignored it. Buzzed again. I glanced down expecting a delivery notification or work email. Instead I saw Instagram. New message request. From Marcus Cole. My stomach dropped in a way that felt instinctive, like my body knew something my brain had not caught up to yet. I opened it before I could reconsider. "She settled for you. She will come back." No greeting, no explanation. Just that cold sentence sitting alone on the screen. For a moment my mind refused to process the words. Then heat spread under my skin, crawling up my neck. I tapped his profile out of reflex. Public account. Gym photos, travel shots, expensive watches, a few motivational quotes that sounded like they belonged on a Finance Bro podcast. He looked polished, confident, infuriatingly composed. A stranger who somehow knew exactly where to strike. My first emotion was not anger. It was humiliation. A man I had never met was telling me I was a temporary stand-in, a consolation prize. I stared until the letters blurred. By the time Chloe knocked on my door, I had screenshotted the message several times without even remembering doing it. She walked in with her usual bright energy, dropping a kiss on my cheek while holding up a paper bag. Thai food, your favorite, extra dumplings because I am generous tonight. Normally, I would have teased her. That night, the words slid past me without landing. Chloe, I said quietly. She froze immediately, reading my expression. What is wrong? I held out my phone. Your ex messaged me. Her brows knit together as she took it, eyes scanning the screen. Then something unexpected happened. She smirked. Actually smirked. Classic Marcus, she said. I blinked. That is your reaction. He is just trying to mess with your head. She handed the phone back like it meant nothing. He does this with everyone I date. Everyone. The word stuck. How many people has he said that to? She shrugged, already unpacking food. I do not know, a few. He hates that I moved on. I did not move. Chloe, this is not funny, this is harassment. He is dramatic, she said over her shoulder. If you ignore him, he usually gets bored. I am not ignoring it. Then block him. Why have not you blocked him if he is this bad? She returned to the table, setting containers down calmly. I blocked his main accounts, he keeps making new ones. You will go crazy if you chase every fake profile. That did not make it acceptable. And it did not explain the confidence behind that message. He said you settled for me, I said quietly. Like he is sure you will go back. She rolled her eyes. He knows how to push buttons. Does he? Or does he just know you? Something flickered across her face. Something almost nostalgic before she masked it. We were together a long time, of course he knows me. Probably better than anyone. The words landed like a punch. Better than anyone. Including me. Do not twist it, she snapped. I am saying we have history. But he thinks that history still matters. He thinks I am temporary. You are overreacting, Ethan. This is exactly what he wants. No, I said slowly, this is what he believes, and you just confirmed he might be right. Her jaw tightened. I did not say that. You basically did. My hands were shaking though my voice stayed calm. If he knows you better than anyone, where does that leave me? She grabbed her purse abruptly. I am not doing this. I am not interested in being a placeholder either, I said. If Marcus is still the benchmark you measure everyone against, maybe you should be with him. Excuse me. If his opinion matters enough that you dismiss this like a joke, maybe you are not over him. Her eyes flashed with anger. You know what, call me when you calm down. She stormed out, the door slamming hard enough to rattle the frame. I stood there in the sudden silence, the smell of lemongrass and chili hanging in the air, my phone still warm in my hand. Part of me was furious. Another part strangely relieved. If she was still emotionally tethered to him, better to know now. I packed the untouched food into the fridge mechanically and sat on the couch. My phone lay beside me. I half expected an apology text. Nothing came. An hour crawled by. At around 9, there was a knock on my door. For one hopeful second, I thought she had come back. That she would explain, apologize, laugh it off. I opened the door. 2 police officers stood in the hallway. Good evening, sir, the older one said. Are you Ethan Parker? My pulse spiked. Yes. We are looking for Chloe Hayes. Is she here? Something cold spread through my chest. No, she left about an hour ago. Why? The officer took out a small notebook. Mr. Parker, we need to serve Ms. Hayes with a restraining order issued this afternoon. The complainant is Marcus Cole. The hallway tilted slightly as if gravity had shifted. A restraining order. Against Chloe. Yes, sir. And in that moment I realized I might not know the woman I had let into my life at all. The officers asked if they could come inside. I stepped aside automatically, my mind still struggling to process the phrase restraining order as if it belonged to a different reality. My apartment suddenly felt too small for what was happening. The older officer introduced herself as Officer Grant, the younger as Officer Miller. They sat on my couch with the calm efficiency of people who had delivered bad news many times before. Just to confirm, Officer Grant said, "You are in a romantic relationship with Chloe Hayes." "We were," I said, the past tense catching in my throat. "We had an argument earlier." "How long have you been together?" "About 8 months. She nodded, writing it down. "All right, Mr. Parker, I am going to give you a brief overview and then ask a few questions. If you need a moment at any point, let us know." I nodded even though I had no idea how to process any of this. Earlier today, a judge granted a temporary restraining order against Ms. Hayes on behalf of Mr. Marcus Cole. He provided documentation of ongoing harassment over approximately the past year. "Harassment," I repeated slowly, "from Chloe. That does not make sense. She told me he was the one stalking her." The two officers exchanged a brief glance that twisted something deep in my gut. "According to Mr. Cole," Officer Grant continued, "he ended the relationship and requested no further contact. Since then he reports receiving hundreds of messages, repeated phone calls, uninvited appearances at his home and workplace, and communication attempts through multiple social media accounts after being blocked." My ears rang. "No," I said weakly. "Chloe told me he kept making new accounts to contact her. She said he could not let go." Officer Miller wrote quietly, pen scratching against paper in small, precise movements. "That is not consistent with the evidence submitted to the court," Grant said gently. "What kind of evidence?" "Phone records, screenshots of messages initiated by Ms. Hayes, call logs, voicemails, witness statements from neighbors and coworkers, security footage showing her presence at locations associated with Mr. Cole." Each item landed like another weight pressing on my chest. "She said he followed her to classes," I whispered, "that he showed up where she was. Did you personally witness any of those incidents?" I tried to recall. Every story she told had been vivid, detailed, almost cinematic. But I had never actually seen any of it happen. "No," I admitted quietly. "I only heard about it from her." Grant nodded, writing something down. "Did she ever show you messages from him directly?" "Yes," I said, "a few screenshots early on. Messages that looked like he was begging her to respond. But I never saw full conversations. Just fragments. Fragments she controlled. Fragments she chose." "Mr. Parker," Grant said, leaning forward slightly, "have you personally received any messages from accounts claiming to be Mr. Cole?" The question hit me like a dropped weight. My phone was still on the coffee table, the screen dark. My heart began pounding. "Yes," I said slowly, "tonight actually, right before she came over." "What did the message say?" I swallowed. "He wrote that she settled for me and that she would come back." Officer Miller stopped writing. "May we see the message?" My hands trembled as I picked up the phone and opened Instagram. The thread was still there. I handed it over. Grant read silently, her expression controlled but her eyes narrowing slightly. "May I view the profile?" "Go ahead." She tapped through, frowning. "Could you read the username aloud?" I leaned closer. "It is at Marcus Cole Fit." Then I blinked. "Wait, that is odd." Officer Miller leaned in. "Look carefully at the spelling," Grant said. "Specifically the last name." I stared. The L in Cole was not an L. It was a capital I. Marcus Coai. A nearly invisible difference. My stomach dropped. "I did not even notice," I said. "I saw the name and assumed." Mr. Cole provided his official account information. Grant said, "This does not match. So this is not him. Based on current information, this appears to be a fraudulent account designed to resemble his." My mouth went dry. Why would someone do that? Grant and Miller exchanged another glance. "Mr. Cole reports that Ms. Hayes has created multiple impersonation accounts to contact his partners or acquaintances. In some cases, the messages were intentionally provocative so they could be used as supposed evidence of his harassment. The room seemed to tilt again. You are saying Chloe pretended to be him. We cannot state that definitively at this moment, Grant said carefully. However, the timing of this message relative to the restraining order issued today suggests a strong possibility. I sank back against the couch as if something inside me had collapsed. She settled for you. She will come back. The words sounded different now. Colder, calculated, and disturbingly familiar in tone. How long has this been happening? I asked. According to Mr. Cole, shortly after their breakup and escalating over time. He reports a pattern of her telling new partners he is dangerous while continuing to contact him repeatedly and attempting to control how others perceive him. My fingers dug into my knees to stop their shaking. She said he could not accept she moved on. I murmured. She said he was obsessed. Officer Miller wrote every word. People who engage in this behavior can be very persuasive, Grant said softly. They often control the narrative. Partners frequently believe them. Shame burned through me anyway. Every time I had comforted Chloe. Every time I had silently judged Marcus as unstable. Every time I had felt grateful I was not the one being stalked. What happens now? We need to locate Ms. Hayes and serve the order. Once served, she will be legally prohibited from contacting Mr. Cole directly or indirectly or coming within a specified distance of him. Indirectly, I repeated. That includes using third parties, creating fake accounts, or attempting to provoke contact through others. The fake profile, the message, it all aligned with terrifying clarity. Has she ever asked you to contact him on her behalf? No, I said automatically, then paused. She did once say that if he kept bothering her, she might need me to back her up with police. She joked I would be her star witness. Grant wrote that down. Do you know where she might be? I pictured her condo across town, the yoga studio she loved, the upscale grocery store she visited obsessively, places that suddenly felt like sets in a performance I had mistaken for real life. Probably at her place, I said quietly, I can give you the address. I did. They thanked me, handed me a card with a case number. If Ms. Hayes contacts you, especially regarding Mr. Cole, please notify us immediately. Do not act as a messenger. I nodded numbly. Real, valid, important. Words that felt surreal in the stillness of my living room after they left. The door closed. Their footsteps faded. Silence settled like dust. I sat staring at my phone. The fake profile. The message I had almost believed. She settled for you. I opened the profile again, staring at the tiny altered letter that had fooled me completely. Then I exited and typed Marcus Cole into the search bar. If Chloe had written the script, I was done following it. His real account appeared instantly. Verified badge. Professional photos. Friends, family, normal life. Nothing theatrical. Nothing obsessive. Just a man. A tired-looking man in some pictures. Relaxed in others. Human. Completely unlike the monster Chloe had described. My chest tightened. I hovered over the message button, unsure what to say to a stranger I had unknowingly been cast against. My phone buzzed. Chloe. Her name lit up the screen, and for the first time since meeting her I felt no warmth at all. Only a sharp instinct to put distance between myself and that call. I let it ring. It rang again. 3 times in less than 2 minutes. I flipped the phone face down. Another call started. I declined it. Voicemail notification. Then another. I did not listen. Instead, I opened Marcus' profile again and typed, Hi Marcus. I am sorry to contact you out of nowhere, but I think I have been lied to about everything. The police just came to my apartment. I do not even know where to start. My thumb hovered. Then I sent it. The message disappeared into the void. I did not expect a response. Why would he trust me? To him, I was just another person Chloe had pulled into her orbit. I set the phone down, picked it up again, set it down again. My heart would not slow. Then it buzzed. A reply. Is this really Ethan? The police said they spoke with you. I exhaled shakily. Yes, they came looking for Chloe. They told me about the restraining order. I had no idea. She told me you were stalking her. His response came almost instantly. I know, she tells everyone that. I covered my mouth with my hand. Another message followed. I am sorry you are dealing with this. No one deserves to. I hesitated. Can you tell me what has actually been happening? Please. I do not know what to believe. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, returned. Finally. I will show you. Hold on. Seconds later, my screen filled with images. Screenshots. Dozens. Messages from Chloe number begging him to respond. Apologies turning into accusations. Affection turning into rage. Photos time-stamped outside his building. Missed call logs in overwhelming clusters. Messages from unknown numbers after being blocked. Accounts with names nearly identical to his. The same tactic she had used on me. My phone vibrated continuously as more arrived. I scrolled endlessly. The volume alone was horrifying. But what broke something inside me was how familiar her voice sounded even in text. The dramatic swings. The emotional manipulation. The same patterns I had seen in smaller ways with me. This was not random. This was a script. One she had clearly performed before. What about the messages she showed me from you? I typed. Short pause. Mostly fake. She sent them to herself from burner accounts. She did this with the boyfriend before you too. Nausea rolled through me. Of course she had. Of course the story felt polished. It had been rehearsed. My phone buzzed again. Chloe. Another call. I declined it. If she contacts you, please do not respond. Marcus wrote. She may try to create indirect contact with me, which violates the order. Document everything. Indirect contact. The officers had said the same thing. I am sorry, I typed, you did not deserve any of this. I believed her. I believed her once too, he replied. That is how she works. More screenshots arrived. This time official documents. The restraining order. Dates, incidents, witness statements. My breath caught repeatedly as I read. At the end he sent one final message. It is better you learned this in 8 months than in 2 years. I closed my eyes. My phone buzzed again. Chloe. Voicemail. Text. Ethan, we need to talk. This is a misunderstanding. Call me. I blocked her number. Checked the fake account again. User not found. Deleted. Of course. I placed the phone down carefully as if it might explode. Every story she had told me. Every sympathetic nod. Every time I had thought Marcus was unstable. Every time I had been grateful I was not him. Blind loyalty no longer felt noble. It felt like a trap I had walked into willingly because the person holding the door open smiled convincingly enough. A knock sounded at my door. My heart stopped. I stood slowly and looked through the peephole. Chloe was standing in the hallway, looking directly at my door. For a full second I could not move. My body recognized danger before my mind caught up. Chloe stood outside my door with her arms folded, head tilted slightly, the posture of someone who expected to be let in, not questioned. She was wearing the navy coat I had once told her made her eyes look brighter. Her hair was perfectly styled, makeup flawless, expression composed. If I had not known what I knew now, she would have looked completely normal. My phone buzzed on the couch behind me. A message from her lit up the screen. I know you are in there. We need to talk. Just open the door. She knocked again, sharper this time. I did not breathe. Through the peephole, the glass distorted her features slightly, but I could still see the shift in her expression. The pleasant mask slipping. Impatience creeping in. Another knock. Ethan, she called, voice muffled through the door. Come on, do not make this weird. I took a step back. Then another. Fear moved through me in a cold wave, settling deep in my stomach. My phone buzzed again. Another message. I am not leaving until you talk to me. My fingers trembled as I picked it up. If you do not leave, I am calling the police, I typed. Her reply came instantly. Why would you do that? I have not done anything. You are being dramatic. Just open the door. Another message followed immediately. Marcus is manipulating you. This is what he does. He ruins everything. Then another. If you cared about me at all, you would hear me out. The emotional pivot was so fast it almost made me dizzy. Anger to guilt to pleading in seconds. Textbook manipulation. I blocked her. The chat went gray. Outside she knocked harder, the sound rattling the frame. Ethan, she snapped, the sweetness gone entirely. You think blocking me fixes anything. You are smarter than that. My pulse hammered in my ears. I backed into the kitchen, gripping my phone like it was the only solid thing in the room. Another knock, louder. Open the door. No, I whispered to the empty apartment. I raised the phone, thumb hovering over the number Officer Grant had given me. Then suddenly, silence. No footsteps. No breathing through the door. Nothing. Seconds stretched. 30. 60. 2 minutes. I forced myself to move forward and check the peephole again. The hallway was empty. She was gone. My legs felt weak as I leaned my forehead briefly against the door. The apartment felt too quiet now, as if the air itself was waiting for something else to happen. I did not sleep that night. Every sound made my heart jump. The refrigerator hum. A car passing outside. The creak of pipes. I checked the locks repeatedly. Considered pushing furniture against the door. Eventually I sat on the couch with all the lights on until sunrise. By mid-morning my phone showed 12 missed calls from unknown numbers. 7 voicemails. Several texts from numbers I did not recognize but somehow knew were her. I did not open any of them. Instead I forwarded everything to the officer contact. They responded quickly. Thank you. Document all contact. Notify us if she appears again. Relief washed through me but did not erase the fear. Hours passed. Paced. Checked the windows. Checked the hallway through the peephole again and again. Around noon a message came from Marcus. Are you okay? I hesitated before replying. She came to my apartment last night. I did not open the door. She was angry. Did she leave? Yes. But she keeps calling from different numbers. That is part of the pattern, he wrote. She escalates when she feels control slipping. Control. The word felt sharp, clinical, accurate. Has she ever been violent? I typed. His reply took longer this time. Not with me. But she becomes unpredictable when cornered. You did the right thing. I swallowed hard. I feel stupid for believing everything she said. Another pause. Do not. She is very good at making lies feel like honesty. My throat tightened. My phone buzzed again. This time not Chloe. Officer Grant. Mr. Parker, Ms. Hayes has been located and served with the restraining order this morning. If she contacts you again, please notify us immediately. I sagged onto the couch, tension draining from my body. Served. Official. For the first time in nearly 24 hours, I felt like I could breathe. But fear does not disappear just because paperwork exists. That night, I slept with the lights on again. The next afternoon, Marcus messaged. She violated the order today. Showed up outside my office. Security cameras caught it. A chill ran through me. Even after police intervention, she could not stop. Hours later, another message arrived. She tried to contact me through a mutual friend too. That is violation number 2. I stared at the screen. What happens now? Her attorney will be notified. The prosecutor reviews violations. There could be charges. Could be. The uncertainty sat heavy in my chest. That evening, while reheating leftovers I could barely taste, my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. Hello. Mr. Parker, a woman said. This is Assistant District Attorney Rebecca Sloan. I am calling regarding the restraining order involving Chloe Hayes. My legs went weak and I sat down abruptly. We understand you received a message from a fraudulent account impersonating the complainant. We believe your experience may be part of a broader pattern relevant to the case. My mouth went dry. Are you asking me to testify? Potentially. At minimum, we would like an official statement. I closed my eyes. Every moment I had defended Chloe flashed through my mind. Every time I had dismissed inconsistencies. Every time she smiled with relief when I accepted her version. I will cooperate, I said quietly. Thank you, she replied, we will contact you to schedule. When the call ended, I sat in the dim kitchen staring at nothing. 8 months earlier, I had met a captivating woman at a friend party. We had laughed, flirted, exchanged numbers. I thought I had found something promising. I had not realized I had stepped into someone else's nightmare. I had not realized how close I came to becoming the next Marcus. Isolated, discredited, cast as the villain in a story where she was always the victim. Over the next 3 weeks, things escalated quickly. Chloe violated the restraining order again by having a friend call Marcus pretending to check on him. Violation number 3. Charges were filed. Harassment, stalking, violation of a protection order. Marcus kept me informed, not because he had to but because we shared something strange and painful. We were not friends exactly, but we understood each other in a way few people could. One afternoon he wrote, "She is facing trial. They may ask you to appear as a witness." My stomach tightened. "Okay, just let me know." He added, "I'm sorry you got pulled into this, but I'm glad you got out early." I typed "me too," then deleted the sentence I almost added. "I am sorry I believed her over you." 2 months passed. Chloe was formally charged. She attempted to contact me through another fake account. I forwarded it immediately. It was added to her file. I started therapy on my own. I needed to understand how I had trusted someone so completely, why her narrative had slipped past my defenses so easily. My therapist said something that stayed with me. People like her weaponize vulnerability. They present themselves as wounded so you do not notice the harm they are causing. It made painful sense. At work I functioned. At home I healed slowly. Long walks, cooking real meals again, cleaning every corner of my apartment as if removing invisible residue. Eventually I reinstalled a dating app. Not because I was ready, because I was no longer afraid. Marcus told me he had started seeing someone new too. Quietly, carefully, healthy, he said. He had not told Chloe and did not intend to. Exactly as it should be. The friend who introduced Chloe to me apologized repeatedly. She said Chloe had always framed her past as crazy ex-drama, and she believed it because Chloe spoke with conviction. I understood that now. Conviction is not truth. Volume is not honesty. Consistency is not innocence. I learned something else too. Sometimes the person who claims to be chaste is actually the one doing the chasing. Sometimes the person who insists they are the victim is directing the story. And sometimes the so-called crazy ex is simply someone trying to escape. Chloe almost trapped me in that story. Almost. But truth has a way of surfacing. Through screenshots, timestamps, police reports, through the quiet persistence of facts. I stepped out before she could write the ending for me. The trial did not begin right away. Legal processes move slowly, methodically, almost indifferently to the chaos they represent in real lives. But the waiting period was its own kind of pressure. Every unknown number made my pulse jump. Every unexpected sound in the hallway made me glance toward the door. Even though the restraining order was in place, even though she had been warned repeatedly, some part of me never fully believed it would stop her. Marcus told me she had attempted contact again through another acquaintance who immediately reported it. Violation number 4. At that point, the prosecutor escalated the case. No longer just paperwork and warnings. Now there were potential criminal consequences. The first time I had to meet with the district attorney in person, my hands would not stop sweating. Rebecca Sloan was younger than I expected, composed but not cold, the kind of person who spoke gently while saying very serious things. She asked me to recount everything from the beginning. How I met Chloe, what she told me about Marcus, the message from the fake account, the night she came to my door, every detail. At one point she asked, did anything ever feel off before all this? I hesitated. Yes. Small things. Stories that seemed too dramatic. Coincidences that happened too often. Moments where her emotions shifted so quickly it gave me whiplash. But I told myself I was being insensitive. Sloan nodded like she had heard that answer many times. Manipulative people rely on reasonable partners, she said. They count on you to doubt yourself. The statement settled into me like something heavy but clarifying. When the court date finally arrived 3 months later, I almost did not recognize Chloe. She looked thinner, her hair darker than before, pulled into a severe ponytail. No bright colors, no warm smile, just a sharp, controlled expression. She did not look at me when she entered the courtroom. Marcus sat on the opposite side, equally tense, hands clasped tightly together. Seeing them both in the same room felt surreal. Two people whose relationship had shaped months of my life, now reduced to opposing parties in a legal proceeding. When I was called to testify, my legs felt like they belonged to someone else. I told the truth. Nothing dramatic, nothing embellished, just facts. The message, the fake account, the police visit, her behavior at my door, the continued attempts to contact me. Chloe's attorney tried to suggest I had misunderstood events, that I was influenced by Marcus. But screenshots do not misunderstand. Phone logs do not exaggerate. Timelines do not lie. After hours of testimony from multiple witnesses, the pattern was undeniable. The judge granted a long-term protective order. Additional charges related to harassment and stalking moved forward. It was not a dramatic cinematic moment. No shouting, no breakdown, just the quiet finality of consequences becoming real. As people began filing out of the courtroom, Chloe finally looked at me. Not with anger, not with sadness, with something colder, calculation, as if she were already evaluating the next move in a game she had not accepted losing. I turned away first. Outside the courthouse, the air felt strangely fresh, like stepping into a different world. Marcus approached cautiously. "Thank you," he said simply. "You did not have to do that." I nodded. "I think I did." We stood there awkwardly for a moment, two strangers connected by shared damage. "Take care of yourself," he added. "You too." And that was it. No dramatic reconciliation. No sudden friendship. Just mutual understanding and distance. Over the following months, life slowly returned to something resembling normal. I moved to a different apartment across the city. Not because I was forced to, because I wanted a clean start. New walls, new routines, new memories that did not carry echoes of that night. Therapy helped more than I expected. Not just with fear, but with anger. Anger at her. Anger at myself. Anger at how easily trust can be manipulated. My therapist reminded me repeatedly, trusting someone is not a flaw. Abusing trust is. Eventually the nightmares stopped. The hypervigilance faded. I could hear a knock on the door without my chest tightening. I could answer unknown calls again without rehearsing worst-case scenarios. 6 months after the trial, I went on a date. Nothing extraordinary. Coffee at a quiet place near the river. She was kind, grounded, easy to talk to. There were no dramatic stories. No tragic past presented as a performance. Just two people having a normal conversation. It felt almost unfamiliar and deeply comforting. We are still seeing each other now. Slowly, carefully. Not because I am broken. because I finally understand that real connection does not need urgency to feel meaningful. Marcus sent one last message around the same time. Just an update. He had moved to another state. New job. New relationship. Peace, he wrote. A simple word that carried enormous weight. I wished him the same. Sometimes I still think about how close I came to becoming the villain in someone else's narrative. How easily reality can be distorted when you only hear one voice. How dangerous charm can be when it is used as camouflage. But I also think about something else. How the truth does not need to shout. It only needs time. Chloe wanted to control the story, to decide who was the victim, who was the aggressor, who was believed. In the end, she lost control of that narrative. Not because anyone fought harder, because facts accumulated until they could no longer be ignored. I did not win anything. Marcus did not win anything. There was no victory in what happened. Only survival, and distance, and the quiet relief of waking up in a life that is actually yours. Sometimes people ask me if I regret those 8 months. I do not. They taught me to trust actions more than words, consistency more than intensity, calm more than excitement. Most importantly, they taught me that love should feel safe, not confusing. And if someone constantly needs you to doubt your own perception of reality, that is not love. That is control. I still keep the business card Officer Grant gave me tucked in a drawer, not as a reminder of fear, as proof that I got out, that the story did not end the way it could have. Because sometimes escaping is the only victory that matters. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Visit our channel for interesting and intriguing stories.